All right, man. It's been a long time coming. Finally,
right?
glad to get you here. Thank you for your time.
Right on, man. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So, as a tattoo artist that has traveled all over the world, kind of doing what you do at this point, I'm just curious, like, what is your relationship like to tattooing currently? You know, for as long as you've been doing it, and just, are you still passionate about it?
Yeah, I definitely am passionate about it, but like I've entered a new journey with owning the shop, owning my own business, and that's a whole different aspect of it. It's a business end. I'm a tattooer, I'm not a businessman,
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that takes my energy and takes my time, and yeah, it's a whole different ball game now. It's not just a matter of tattooing and loving it and doing it and traveling. Now I got people working under me, and bills to pay and responsibility, accountability.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Adulting.
Yeah. Adulting, exactly. And I'm not, pirate like me is not used to that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, speaking of a pirate like you, and you were talking about your traveling earlier.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, like what you were able to do, through tattooing, and where you were able to go, and just, you got some crazy experiences.
Yeah, man. Like I've traveled, throughout Europe, Japan, Mexico. Tattooing's taken me a lot of places, man, and it's and like I said, because of the shop, I kind of slowed down a little bit, but I want to get back on that grind, and the shop's kind of running itself now, and I want to get back on that grind, try and hit it again. I'm going out to London next month, and I'll be going back to Japan, working there. Yeah, it's just taken me, open doors for me, man, that I never, being where I'm from, how I grew up, I never expected to see the world at all,
Yeah.
It's taken me places.
We've kind of talked a little bit about Japan.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, and that was like kind of like a trip, because there's like this weird demand for kind of like West Coast.
Oh, definitely.
Like this West Coast. I mean, how would you define your style?
My style, I guess it would be cultural, I guess. I mean, definitely black and gray. Probably more on the cold. I mean, I'll do anything. I'll do whatever. I'm not too good to do anything. I'm a tattooer, so I tattoo whatever somebody wants. Somebody wants to come to me, I'll do it. But my style, I would say probably black and gray, Chicano culture.
And that specifically is what's kind of like been in demand in like places like Japan and
It's
some
huge.
other places
It's
in
huge.
Europe too, right?
Yeah, and out there, well, here now it's more respected as an art form. But back when I started, it wasn't respected at all as an art form. It was from the streets, it was from the joints. But in Japan and Europe, they respected it in a way that, like say, we respect the Japanese art form.
Yeah.
Like back then it might have been, certain types of society that only carried tattoos, but we respected it as an art form. And it goes the same over there. In Europe and Japan, they respect it as, it's nothing, there's no taboo to it. It's definitely respected.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's a trip. Like I was, seeing like some pictures of some of the people you were hanging out with out there. I mean, like dudes are straight looking like, like some like West Coast Chicanos,
It's
right?
crazy, yeah.
Like
it's crazy.
From everything,
They look
the way
like
they
look
dress.
thugging out there, man. Yeah, they really look thug. But then when you talk to them, it's like super nice and all respect, and it's cool. It's a trip.
Yeah.
So when you first go out there, it's kind of like, oh, all right, you see all these cats and they're hard, they look hard, they look the part, but then you meet them and they're super respectful and bowing, and it's a trip.
It's like the same perspective. It's nothing to walk out here and like see some white dude like me, with like Japanese traditional, stuff done, and then so it's kind of like it's cool to see it like come full circle and go back around.
Exactly, yeah, and especially, when I started, doing what I did, I did all that Cholo work and all that Chicano work, and back in the day, 15 years ago, me and just a handful of dudes, homies, were doing it in shops, I mean, it was still in the joints, still in the streets, but in shops, not too many of us were doing it, especially here in Northern California. LA, yeah, they were doing it, but here in Northern California, not too many cats. So it was tough, man. It was tough to get the ball rolling and have people like look at it as a art form.
I want to bookmark and get back to you talking about like how it kind of like started on the streets and stuff like that, like a cultural thing, because I still want to hear like more about like it wasn't. Where were you living when you were out in Europe tattooing for a while?
I was living in a city called Nijmegen. It was in Holland.
Holland.
Yeah, Holland. It's like, I think it was like 45 minutes out of Amsterdam. So spent a lot of time back and forth in Amsterdam and Nijmegen. And me and some buddies from here, we went out there to open a shop. Not open a shop, but there was a shop already established, but he was having a hard time. So he flew us out there, and we kind of like got the ball rolling for the shop and kind of set the pace for it. And man, it was a blast, man. We were out there for a few months, and yeah, it was a good time.
Sounds like some shit that would make a reality show about,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Fly some dudes in and make this happen.
Yeah, it was cool. It was good times, for sure.
What was it like being like, with that Amsterdam vibe, being so close to Amsterdam?
It was cool, man. Amsterdam was really nice. It was real fun. I knew a few cats out there, but it's just it's a party, man.
Yeah.
It was, I just started going, when I started going to Amsterdam, I had heard that it had already changed and mellowed out a little bit, but it was still cracking out there, just partying all the time, and people are super nice, and everyone speaks English out there, and it's a beautiful country, beautiful city. I do want to go back. It's cool, man. Yeah.
They're trying to like bring in like make it more like tourist, like accessible, or what? Or was it just getting too wild and they just had to like calm it down?
I think maybe it's probably getting too wild. Maybe,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's still, because like before you were able to party all night, 24/7, but now the bars I think close like at 3 or something like that. But I'm sure there's still a lot of partying going on. But I hear it's different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how you got your start, and we kind of like mentioned a little bit earlier about, like the Chicano style and everything, and
Yeah.
like coming from the streets, definitely having, prison culture having probably a big influence on
Exactly,
that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And like, how old were you when you knew you wanted to be a tattoo artist?
I first started tattooing when I was 14. I was 14 years old. My older cousin, he made me a homemade rig when I was 7 years old. But I've been drawing my whole life. I didn't, but he made me this homemade rig, and I didn't think twice about it. Whatever. I was 7 years old. I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? But my dad found it.
7?
I was 7 years old when he made me this rig, this homemade rig, and I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I just had it in my room. My dad
With
found
the needle
it.
and everything?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So my dad found it, and he took it apart, and he tossed it. He didn't want me tattooing me and myself and all that shit.
Probably a good call. for
Yeah,
7,
yeah, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, but I wasn't tripping, because I wasn't even thinking about tattooing. Fast forward 7 years, I'm 14 years old, and I remember, like, I'm running the streets and shit, and that's when kids get tattooed, do stupid shit, get into stupid shit, and I remembered, oh shit, I remember how to make that tattoo machine that my cousin made me a long time ago. So put one together and just went to town, started tattooing my legs, started tattooing all the homies in the neighborhood.
7 years later, you remembered how to make it
Well, yeah,
from
it was-
like the
yeah.
brief time that you had it.
Yeah, because when I had it, I would look at it and like
Gotcha,
play with
yeah.
it, but I didn't think about tattooing.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a cool little machine, little spinning thing.
I would
with it.
imagine for a 7-year-old
Yeah.
that would be mystifying,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, it was cool, So I had studied it when I was young, not for the sake of tattooing, but just because I was 7 years old and interested, and just it was just cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was 14, that's when I made my first rig and went to town. But even then, like, I didn't take it serious. I just tattooed in the streets for a long time, and then I didn't take it serious probably till I was like 20 maybe, 21. I started working at this shop on the east side called Vision Tattoo, Jeff Rosas. And I still didn't tattoo there, but that's where I made needles, and I would make all my needles, and I would draw for him and prep everything. I guess it was sort of an apprenticeship, but
Yeah.
like he taught me how to make needles, and he taught me how to use machines and shit like that, but I didn't really tattoo there.
You'll see a trend with me. I'm gonna be bookmarking some things, and like the apprenticeship thing, I want to bookmark because I think that's just, I think that is an important dynamic, that is kind of lost in a lot of professions these days.
Definitely.
And but I wanted to ask you about, so you were kind of like, you know, like running the streets and kind of doing what kids do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, like around 20 or 21, you started taking it serious. And I was wondering, you know, like through tattooing or just like drawing or just the creative process in general, was that kind of like a catalyst for you to maybe kind of put the streets behind you a little bit and move forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I didn't get into as much trouble as I could have at a young age because of my art. Because, you know, a lot of the homies, they always tell me, you know, sit this out or don't do that, you know, because they knew I had, you know, I was always drawing. In school, I was always drawing paper, just where if I wasn't partying or something, I was drawing, you know.
You had an outlet.
Yeah, I had an outlet, and I think the homies recognized that, and, you know, they wouldn't like want me to do certain things, and you know, and I hung out with with like my older cousins and shit, and they kind of steered me in directions as well, and so yeah, it definitely helped me.
So it wasn't even just you, it was actually you had like the support of like the people around you who kind of like saw potential and wanted you going a different path.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
How special is that?
Looking on hindsight, yeah, I'm very fortunate, man. You know, I had some good people in my life, you know, and I'm lucky.
Well, just having an outlet in general, man.
Yeah.
You know, I think everyone to a certain degree has like something that can be that outlet for them, you know, but we, you know, are in the times right now when, you know, a lot of that opportunity is suppressed.
Yeah, especially in this area.
Especially in this area.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, you know, I just mentioned about the apprenticeship thing, you know, and I think psychologically, like how important that dynamic is for a lot of people. I mean, it's almost like a rite of passage, right?
Definitely.
So, you know, and, you know, tribal times where we all came from, you know, like every man had a rite of passage, right? You would have to like do something to like prove that you were
yourself.
a man.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, like that would flip a switch, you know, like you would believe it, right? Like you got, so it gives you that confidence that you need to kind of like understand yourself and like become who you are. And I just, you know, want to know a little bit about that process for you.
Mine, I never had a formal apprenticeship because I was always kind of like, I guess, bullheaded and stubborn. Like I didn't want someone, because I had seen like what apprenticeships were, you know, and back then apprenticeships were tough, you know what I mean? They didn't fuck around, you know, they would try and break you. And I didn't want to do. I would end up getting in a fight or something. You know what I mean?
What would they do to like try to break you?
Just the way they treat you. They treat you like shit.
Gotcha.
You know, they would treat you like shit. You were a piece of shit. You were the grunt. You had to do whatever they said. You know what I mean? And that was you proving yourself. You know, and you were doing all the shit jobs, and you were just had to take shit all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I could never see myself doing that. And so I never apprenticed, man, and I kind of wish I did. There's goods and bads to it. If I would have apprenticed, my style probably would have been more structured and maybe more, less my own, you know, less my.
You think that's a good thing?
No, I don't think that's good.
Oh, okay.
So I think, so I think that's good that I didn't, but.
It would have made your style more structured and less of your own.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would have been more. Like right now, my art, my tattoos look like my drawings.
Yeah.
You know, it's because that's what I know how to do.
Right.
I wasn't taught any different way. I think if I would have apprenticed, they would have taught me a different way. Maybe, I don't know. You know, but it's something that I never wanted to do. But you know, it would have taught me the discipline and the structure, which I don't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
well, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, discipline and structure is it's a skill, man. You know, it's like something you just gotta You gotta just work on and just refine the process.
That's it, man. Again. Yeah. I mean, back to that pirate life, though. You know what I mean?
The pirate life.
Yeah.
Tell me what that means, man. Tell me.
You know, well, back in the day, man, tattooers, we were fucking pirates, man. We didn't. It's different now. It's a bunch of artists, and you know what I mean. And I mean, it's cool. I mean, tattooing's come a long ways, but I mean, it's not the reason I got into it was because, you know, the bikers, the gangsters, the cons, the sailors. That was attractive to me. That was not because I thought, oh, I'm going to be in a fine art gallery, or you know, it's going to be respected by society or become a trend. not why I got in at all.
You know, that's a big thing. I actually I haven't put a lot of thought into this in a while, but you saying that, like, the respect of the acceptance in
Yeah.
society of tattoos, you know, I mean, even I'm 36, I think first got tattooed when I was 18.
Yeah.
And even just whatever, don't make me do math, especially on camera, but at that time, you know, like, it was still taboo, you know, like, being tattooed.
Exactly,
I mean, it
yeah.
wasn't, and, you know, now, like, you can see people walking down the street with their face blasted and shit like that, you know,
It's
and
crazy.
you might get a little bit of a weird look,
Yeah.
but, I mean, it ain't
Yeah,
nothing.
go around the corner, you see another guy with his face.
Right.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's nothing new. It's lost its edge, it's lost its lure. Which
You think tattooing has lost its edge?
definitely, definitely. I mean, it's still got a little bit, but I think it's definitely become more. It's definitely mainstream.
Well, there's no doubt about that. You know, and I think now you're seeing, maybe to try to hang on to that edge, you're seeing, you know, like, extreme expressions, you know,
Yeah.
like with, you know, all the face tattoos
Definitely,
and stuff
definitely,
like
definitely.
that.
But don't get me wrong, too, because it was good for business, but
Yeah.
it's just different, you know. And it's change, and
Yeah,
I don't do well with change. You know what I mean?
a lot of people don't.
Yeah, so-
But that's the one thing constant in life, man. is
That's the change, right? Yep.
So, I know you got, going back to, okay, your apprenticeship and just kind of like you coming up. When did you feel like you really, like, kind of leveled up, you know, and, like, were able to get past that? Well, I mean, you said you technically didn't have apprenticeship.
Yeah,
You did
yeah.
kind of apprentice, right?
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
was like
yeah.
someone took you under their wing. More
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah,
deal.
and it was more for probably his benefit, you know, so I could draw for him and
Yeah.
make his needles and
Yeah,
scrub
yeah.
his tubes, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But I didn't tattoo at that time, you know. So, but I was in the shop and I learned, you know, the shop etiquette and shit like that. But yeah,
What's shop etiquette?
well, you know, just the respect that you give, and you know, the art behind it, and just, you know, just the lifestyle of it. You
Yeah.
know, and it's once I left that first shop, you know, I went and I got 9 to 5. I had a daughter, and I went and got some 9 to 5s, and I was like, fuck
Once
this,
you left
man.
the first shop, you got a 9 to 5?
Yeah, I
What was
like,
your 9 to
fuck,
5?
Man, I was a repo man. I worked at the cemetery. I worked.
It's already an impressive resume, man. Some eclectic shit right there. Repo man, were you doing that at the same time? Repo man during the day? Cemetery night?
No, repo man was first, and then I started. Cemetery was my last gig,
What were you doing at the cemetery?
making tombstones.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good gig, man.
That's kind of a trip.
It was a good gig. They just
Yeah.
didn't take care of their workers. You know, they didn't appreciate them, so
Yeah.
I had to get out of there. But yeah, so I mean, it was. I did all that, and then I got back in it. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do the 9 to 5, man. It was. I was like,
You gotta
fuck
tell
this.
me a little bit about the repo man thing though too, because that was probably kind of wild, right?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool, man. It was cool. I mean, you learn how to pick locks
Especially
and shit.
back in the day.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool. It was what company? It was Tri-City, and it was cool, man. I mean, you were just stealing cars all day. You know what I mean?
You ever get put in any sticky situations?
No. Luckily, because I was only there for like a year, but luckily, a couple of times we would nab up a car, and yeah, people would get crazy, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of times we would pick up a car, and then we'd pick up a couple at a time and go park them at this designated spot, depending on what area we're in, and then we'd come back, and the cars would be stolen again. Like the owners would come back and pick them up.
They would steal their own car
Steal
back?
the car back. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty damn funny,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it was cool. It was a good job. It was fun. Yeah.
All right, so kind of like tried your hand out at doing some 9 to 5s,
I
realized
couldn't
that
do it,
wasn't
man.
your thing.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
So coming back then into the tattoo game, did you find yourself kind of like being more motivated than ever, or was it like kind of having struggle to get back to where you were?
I was definitely motivated. See, where was I? I got back in at a place called Bad Boy Tattoo out in Coyote, and Joe Lujan, he gave me a shot. In the meantime, like during those odd jobs, I would still do like little stuff here and there out of the pad, you know,
Yeah.
on friends or people. So, but I wasn't like fully into it. So I had a buddy a mutual buddy with Joe Lujan, and he told me, hey, you know, he's looking for a dude. You know, he just lost a dude, so go check him out. So I went over there, checked him out, and he made me tattoo myself for, you know, as an application, and said, all right,
you
cool.
tattoo yourself for an application.
Yeah, to see what I could do.
One way to do it.
Yeah. So he was like, cool. So you're on. So from then on out, it was never looked back, man.
Where'd you tattoo?
It was where?
Like, yeah, what did you tattoo on you?
I tattooed it was a drawing, like an old pinup style, like Pachuca, right here on my knee.
Yeah.
You know, but
did you practice a lot, like on your own legs?
yeah, when I was a kid, I did. When I was a kid, but yeah, once I got that gig, it was you know, going back. That was, what year was that? I think 2000. I think.
Would you, at that point, were you like kind of feeling comfortable being out on your own, or was there like still a level up? I'm sure it was probably more than one level up.
Yeah, right? it was more. It was because it's between, you know, not being confident in your work and, you know, just, you know, sometimes not being busy, and, you know, there was a lot of walk-ins there, so it was cool. So I learned different styles, I learned different tricks, I learned, you know, I made my bones there, man, and I was there for a year. Then I went to Lucky Stars, Martin Robertson, and
was actually the first time I mean, we didn't meet officially, but that was like where I kind of like saw you the first time. I was getting tattooed by Martin.
By Martin, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was there for, I think, 7 years, 8 years, something like that.
It's long time.
Then I went with Paco Excel, Death Before Dishonor. I was there for almost, I think, 10 years.
Wow, you were really there that long?
Yeah, something like that.
That's kind of I completely forgot about that little like chapter in your history.
Yeah, man, yeah.
That was an interesting little crew, right? Because
it was cool. There was a lot of turnaround, you know. You know, Paco's a good dude, man, and he had a lot of turnaround, but it was cool, man. It was a cool shop. Paco's an excellent artist, man.
Yeah.
Excellent tattoo artist. I learned a lot there. And you know, he knew a lot of people. He knows a lot of cats, so a lot of doors opened up for me there.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was a good joint.
It was like him and a couple other people, like all kind of like came from the same clique, right? And then like kind of got big and then branched out. A lot of big
names came from New School, man.
It was New School, right?
New School back in the day, yeah. Before Death Before Dishonor. Yeah, but a lot of big heavy hitters came from there, man.
So who was all out of that spot?
Adam Barton, Ron Earhart, Adrian Lee, I think Nate Banuelos, Schmo Dog. There's a lot of big names went through those doors, man.
I mean, they must have, because I mean, like half that kind of clique was like, are like analog people now, right?
Yeah,
and the other half
Matt
are like
Shama,
Death Before Dishonor.
Yeah, Matt Shama, all them cats, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil Holt, I think, was there. Yeah, there was a lot of heavy hitters there, man. That was a good shop. They pioneered the whole movement in the tattoo industry. You know, it was so, you know, working alongside Paco was a good thing.
What about, you know, and I'm asking because I don't know, like what specifically was it that like they kind of contributed like as pioneers, you know, to the tattoo industry?
I think they made it more of an art form instead of like walking into a shop and picking off a wall, and, you know, a lot of them came from graffiti backgrounds, so they were artists, you know, so they started more of the custom tattoo. They kind of pioneered that, and the whole New School style, you know. They all pioneered that whole movement.
Really? So like the custom pieces really weren't being done then? It was like you kind of like make your own flash or like what you do, and you come in if you like some.
Come in, pick it off the wall, Really? Yeah. People before that, like people weren't really. I mean, you would draw. It wasn't like back in the day where it was strictly you pick off the wall and that's all you get.
Yeah.
You know, like probably in the when I first started. You know, back when I was 19, 20, like when I worked with Vision, like I would draw his pieces for him. If someone didn't pick something off the wall, like I would draw, he would tell me, okay, we'll draw this up. You know, but it wouldn't be like, you know, bodysuits or a back piece, you know, it'd be, but I think they kind of pioneered that whole like real custom, real detailed, you know, took it away from the street shop and made it more of a custom shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a trip. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then now, you know, you have like the internet and then like technology and stuff like that, you know, and like fools are basically able to like trace like whatever image you bring into them.
Man. It's crazy.
It's a trip, right? You can go on the internet and basically find anything.
There's fucking, you can go on YouTube and learn how to tattoo. You could download apps on how to shade, and it's like I said, it's lost its lure, man. It's big business now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time before the powers that be really recognize it and really clamp down on it, you know, because it is getting that big. It's going to be like hairdressing. It's going to be like,
for someone who owns their own shop, isn't big business kind of an okay thing?
I don't know, man. I'm ready to light it on fire.
Yeah?
No, I'm not.
I mean,
no. It's, you know, tattooing was fine before all this.
Okay.
Shops were fine before all this. When I opened my shop, I wanted a street shop. I didn't want a custom shop. I wanted a shop where you can go in and pick something off the wall or get something custom. You know, I don't want no kids hanging out because there's going to be drinking, there's going to be smoking, there's going to be cussing, there's going to be, you know, it's a street shop. That's what it is, man. And I wanted to get away from what tattooing has become. It's become so artsy and so uppity, and it's just not me, man.
Right, to where like people like have like sober shops and stuff like that, right? To where you
I mean,
can't,
that's
like,
fine
smoke
for
or drink
them.
in the
Yeah,
shop,
that's
man.
fine for them, whatever. But I don't want that. I don't want no part of it.
So like, what specifically about, you know, the industry are you almost ready to obviously metaphorically burn down? But like, you know, I'm just again like I don't know that much about the industry.
Yeah.
And
it is just that, like what I was just saying, like it's
just that kind of pretentious vibe that is kind of coming along
man.
with
There's
it
so
now.
many like rock star tattoo artists now, and it's like, especially with social media now, everybody's like, the bigger you are on social media, the better you are. Or it's ridiculous now, man. And everybody's working off the computer. You know, you don't even have to know how to tattoo anymore. You have to know how to use a machine. You have to know how to use a machine technically, but you don't have to know how to do art.
Yeah.
Because it's all color by number now.
Yeah.
You get something on your internet, off your iPad, and you run it through some filters.
Color by number.
Color by number, man. It's like it's all there for you. You don't have to figure out like where the shading goes, where does the black go, because the computer will do it all. You get a picture off the internet, and everybody's work looks the same, man. You know, and everybody's work, it's saturated. It's oversaturated, and it's. I mean, there's amazing work out there. Don't get me wrong. There is amazing work, but what comes along with it is this industry that's just, I don't know.
What do you think? So what do you think the industry needs?
Fuck.
Not to put you on the spot and shit,
No,
but let me put you on the spot.
Yeah, honestly, there's no going back.
Yeah.
It's just an evolution, and it's either sink or swim. You know, it's something it may be a hard pill for me to swallow, but I gotta deal with it. I gotta roll with the punches. I gotta change with the times.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like anything. It's gonna get bigger. It's gonna get more commercial. It will happen. You know, and everybody's fighting about these tattoo schools, and yeah, I agree with that. But I also agree that tattooing shouldn't be on TV. It shouldn't be in fine art galleries. You can't pick one and not have the other. You know what I mean?
You don't think it should be in fine art galleries?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay, fine art galleries or just like art galleries in general?
I mean, like lowbrow, yeah, definitely,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. But like fine art galleries, no, tattooing doesn't belong. I don't think tattooing belongs there. I feel it doesn't. I feel that it's been watered down.
And you're kind of like, I'm assuming, referring to like that pirate life that you were talking about, which essentially is just like talking about the culture where it came from,
Exactly.
right? When you're talking about like sailor culture, gang culture, things like that.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, also, you know, getting out of like America too, you know, like a lot of the like Polynesian islands and stuff like that, where it's like rite of passage.
Rite of passage,
right,
yeah,
kind of
you
thing.
earn that shit, yeah. Yeah, man, so but people are sitting here complaining about they don't want these schools, but they're okay with the TV shows.
So when you say school, are you talking about like how you can go like to like a salon school basically, like a Paul Mitchell type
tattoo
school,
schools,
and just like learn how to tattoo?
Yeah, man, and I'm not feeling it. I'm against it as well, but I'm against all of it. I mean, I'm anti all of it. You know, I want tattooing to be tattooing, but you know, like I said, you know, times change, man, and you sink or swim. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but like also at the same time, I mean, like what you're talking about sounds pretty, you know, similar to like the music industry, for example, right? Where you had like these like small mom and pop record shops. I mean, you had shit on vinyl, right? You know, and then like kind of like CDs come out, then MP3s, and everything's on the computer, kind of sounding familiar. But then now, like full circle, you see like record stores coming back,
Vinyl
right?
coming
And
back,
like vinyl coming back, and people spinning vinyl. So, you know, I mean, is that kind of like your goal to essentially be like the vinyl of the tattoo industry?
Yeah, I mean, try and keep it rootsy, definitely. I definitely want to keep it rootsy. Yeah, but but like I said, you know, I'm not shunning anybody or putting anybody down for what they're doing. It's just, you know, it's not my gig, you know, it's not my bag. I'm not feeling, you know, half the tattooers out there and what they're doing and why they're doing it. You know, but whatever, to each his own, you know.
To each his own, and you know, not everybody's got to agree on shit either.
Exactly, you know,
like,
and a lot of people won't agree with what I say, and that's fine, you know, you can't make everybody happy, but the ones that do agree with me, it's all good, come on down.
Yeah. I think, you know, there will be a place, you know, like for your vibes. So.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like you said, everything does come full circle, and right now I see a decline in, like, I think tattooing is kind of not so hot anymore. I think it's kind of like on the downward slope. You know what I mean?
The mystique has been taken away from it.
Yeah, and it's not so like, oh, I want to go get tattooed. You know, it's more like, oh yeah, tattoo, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's kind of slowing down a little bit.
I mean, the shock value is gone for sure.
Shock value's gone, and I think that's gonna be hard for a lot of artists, and it might, you know, some shops might close down because of it, because it's slowing down again. So, I mean, I think maybe it will come full circle again. Not like it was back in the day, but I think hopefully it will come full circle, you know, and we'll see. It's just saturated.
Currently, right now, like what is like kind of like, if you can walk me through like what your creative process is, you know, like what are the things that you kind of get inspiration from, you know, like how do you go about like setting up your drawings, or like how to do pieces?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like my thing is, like I said, I like doing like Chicano cultural work. So when people come to me for that now, they kind of like, they either come at me with what they want, but like it's more of like a lot of the times I just draw it right on them. Freehand it. Yeah, I'll just draw it right on them, especially if it's like girls or like that Chicano shit. Like most of the time I'll just draw it on you.
Especially script too, right?
Script,
I mean, script is some of my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. So
freehand special.
Right. Yeah. So I'll just draw it on, you know, because it seems to flow better, it fits better. So I mean, I've been doing that so long, like, you know, it's just kind of like there is no like mental preparation for it. It's just what I do.
Yeah.
It's what I do, and it's what I think it's what people want from me. You know, which is cool. You know, I've worked hard to try and put myself in this place where my work is like respectable. It's not. I remember back in the day, man. Like, people would tell me like, oh, I don't know, what should I get? What do I get? And I would tell them, let's do some homegirls on you. Let's do some homeboys on you. And nah, I don't want that gangster stuff. Nah, that's cholo stuff, man. I don't want that. Like, I don't know, but it's cool though, man.
Yeah.
But now, you know, people are asking for it. You know, it's
not only asking for it here, but asking for it in Holland and Japan.
Yeah,
and shit
everywhere,
like
man. Yeah.
I mean, especially with the black and gray too, because I mean, you know, again, going back to like when I was 18, and it's like what they were able to do with color. I mean, they could do some cool color stuff back in the day, but I mean, it wasn't like what they could do now,
like
right?
now.
So like now they're just fucking, the color game is crazy, and they got like 3D fucking shit that they can do and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But then in turn, I feel like now it's almost like creating like another demand back to the black and gray.
Yeah.
You know?
It's getting, and then but plus too, you got to remember like all the stuff you see on the internet, like it's all filtered, it's all like you'll see some crazy shit on the internet. I was like, God damn, that's goddamn amazing.
Like with the 3D stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that a tattoo is just a tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, you see that shit in person, it'll be a nice tattoo.
Right.
But it ain't gonna look like you see it on the internet.
Right.
You know, it's
especially like that first week, like after they did it,
yeah,
they take the picture
it's all
and then you
fresh
come back
and
a year later.
Yeah,
right?
like more than half these images I see on Instagram, I want to see them healed. Mm-hmm. Show them to me healed, and then.
And so now, is that a different, like, kind of like aspect of it, like what you can do, like that looks good, kind of like in that moment, and what looks good 10 years from now?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. I think nowadays people don't take that in consideration.
Yeah.
They're more for that photo, that moment in time, and they don't think about the longevity of the tattoo. And you know, it's heavy blacks or no black at all, and it's just like. A tattoo is a tattoo. It doesn't matter what your skin is like, no matter who you are, no matter who's doing it.
Yeah.
A tattoo is a tattoo.
So some people almost kind of gimmick tattooing, like just for like that social media like picture,
Definitely.
you know, and like to build that profile.
Definitely. Definitely.
Never thought about that.
Definitely. And it's kind of disgusting. but I mean, whatever, you know. Yeah. But they, you know, they're eating off of it, and that's cool, man. It feeds them, and that's good for them. But I couldn't do that, you know. It's just not me, man. To me, it's kind of like like you said, it's gimmick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not real.
So, all right, I know we kind of opened with you know, like having your own shop now and stuff like that, and you know, acknowledging the pressure that comes with that, and you having to also like do the business side of it as well.
Yeah.
But like, you know, what are you excited about right now? What are you excited about moving forward? You know, like about your own personal career, you know, and then just the industry in general.
Yeah, I'm. It's tough, man, because I'm so wrapped up with the business end of the shop. Like, I love my shop, don't get me wrong, I do love it, and I love being there, and I love the people there, I love my crew, but it's just, I don't have time to really plan too much, you know what I mean? Like, I'm running the whole shop, and making sure bills are paid, making sure permits are paid, making sure everything's handled, which may not seem like a lot to some people, but for me, it's a lot, you know, and it's not me, that's not who I am, but I'm trying to make it happen. So what I'm really looking forward to now is just I want to travel, man. I want to get back out there, get back out in the world.
Yeah.
Get back on a plane and go somewhere, man. And I want to get, even if I'm not tattooing, I just want to travel just for my own self. You know what I mean?
Maybe kind of reconnect and find some new inspiration.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just get back out there, man. And you know, because I love San Jose, man. But you know, it's being in the middle of it all day, all night. It's no, it is.
Hey, man, you preaching the choir on that one.
Yeah, you know, it is.
We get, especially, I mean, San Jose specifically, but Bay Area, you know, I mean, you get used to, like, this is your world, right?
It is,
you
man.
just, like, you forget that there's other shit out there.
There's other world out there, man.
And, you know, like, shit in the Bay is tough, man.
It is. It's tough out here.
Most expensive place in the world to live,
and I think that's what makes it so hard, is like, because it is so tough to live out here. It's so expensive out here that you don't have time to think about what you want. All you think about is what you need. Yeah, what you need to do. You got to do what you got to do. And guess what? Next week, the next month, you got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
You know, so there's really no time.
And that shit is real, dude. Like, the pace of life out here is intense, man. And, you know, you got to sacrifice a lot to kind of keep up and keep your head above water.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely tough, man. And it's only going to get tougher, I think. But, you know, that's a whole other topic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, but that's what I want to focus more on traveling. I do want to focus more on like just art in general, like painting, not tattooing, but like painting, and try and get back into that.
Yeah.
You know, since the shop, I've painted one painting since I've opened the shop.
Yeah.
And shit, so I need to get back on that, and you know, start pushing myself, you know.
Reconnect back to where you got started with.
Yeah,
right? You
exactly.
said you were drawn since you could basically remember.
I remember, yeah. But it's tough though, you know, because I feel like the shop is my responsibility. So I feel like, you know, like, fuck, that's got to be my baby. That's got to be my number one, you know.
Yeah.
So my personal shit's got to come after, because that still is kind of my personal shit, you know.
Babies got to grow up and then they take care of themselves.
I
you
know,
like,
man.
You just got to get on the grind and just like let that thing take care of itself.
You need to hurry
and
the
then
fuck
get back
up.
out there. Well, so speaking of the shop, man, I mean, you got the black and gray handled, you got that the Chicano style covered,
Yeah.
you know, and like tell
Yeah.
people where they can find the shop, tell people where they can find your work.
Black Suit Tattoo, 17 South 2nd Street, San Jose, California. I got Dirty Breed Drew there. He was my apprentice. He's doing more black and gray, kind of following in my footsteps a little bit. I got Andre Brunel. He does like the more geo stuff and dot work and stuff like that. I got Este. He does traditional, like pre-Hispanic traditional, pre-Columbian traditional. I got Johnny Romo. He does strictly traditional, and it's a solid crew, man. It's a good dude. They're good dudes, and we're doing all right so far.
And you can come in there and talk some shit, huh?
You can come in, talk some shit,
have a
bring,
beer.
yeah, bring a 6-pack or have a shot, whatever, man.
Yeah.
You know, talk some shit, leave your kids at home, and we'll be all right.
What about social media? Where can they find you on that?
Black Suit Tattoo for the shop, and then you can find all the other artists through there.
Black Suit Tattoo for what? On what?
On Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not too social media savvy. I wish I was. I try to be. You know, mine is Abraham Ortega on Instagram. But yeah, I need to be. And that's the crazy thing too. This whole social media thing, like it's a whole language.
It's an algorithm, man. It's like
man.
forever evolving, and you know, like they don't
crazy.
make it easy for you to get your shit out there too.
No,
you know,
man,
and that's a whole,
no.
It's a whole other conversation. You know,
is,
like you got to know how to play
definitely.
that game.
It is, and I'm so anti. Like I try not to be so anti, but you know, because it's just gonna bite me and myself in the ass. But
and as I say that, and get ready to post this shit on YouTube
right?
and Instagram.
Got it, man. You
But
got
for real,
it.
man. So do yourself a favor, check out Abraham if you're trying to get some authentic Chicano style work done. And thank you, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.